Hi, full of friends. My name is Seth Gehrke. I am in my 5th year of my MDiv, and I have only 5 courses to go, and I'm so excited. My wife, Emily, and I have been married for 16 years, and our boys, Will and Gus, are 8 and 11 years old. I've been in full-time ministry for the past 18 years, and I've done that in 3 different states, in Minnesota, California, and now here just outside Houston. And so currently I'm the worship leader and the adult groups director at St. John Lutheran in Cypress, Texas, just northwest of the Houston area. Our city of Cypress isn't really a city at all. It's this large landmass encompassing 3 zip codes, even kind of blurring into additional zip codes. There are 12 high schools, over 125,000 kids in K to 12, and a few 100,000 people. We don't have a downtown area, we don't have a mayor, we don't have a city hall. So in the 1980s, this sleepy rural area of northwest Houston began to boom. And developers moved in and created HOAs, which now really control the area around with shopping centers scattered around. I read a good portion of the book called The Space Between by Eric Jacobson, and he wouldn't describe it as a suburb. He would actually describe it as an automobile exurb, E-X-U-R-B. I'd never heard the term, but it makes sense in the way that he describes it, that it's a place where you can really only get around with a car. He explained that the Federal Highway Act of 1956 changed everything. It was the beginning of essentially the requirement to own a car in America, because homes and businesses would get farther apart, and they began making rules that wouldn't allow it to be commercial and residential together. And they mixed housing developments and strip malls and shopping areas were separated. Then it's not walkable. And just like here in Cypress, what Jacobson pointed out is that even if an HOA was next to a shopping center, there's often an impenetrable berm or a wall that you had to walk around to a busy street. So it makes it super frustrating. Being new and still an expanding exurb, there's still tens of thousands of homes still being built in our area, going further and further out from Houston. The locals even have trouble defining the boundaries of what Cypress is. A lot of people here explain it the way they live by the neighborhood, the name of the HOA. Ours is called Ravensway, because there's really no connection to the city. It's almost like small pockets within this area, mini little villages within this sprawling area. Ours is one of the oldest and smaller homes, rather than the affluent areas of oil and gas, which have spread out. It's only 3 miles from church where we live. It has trees, it has history, it has sidewalks, and we love our neighbors. Our church is actually one of the oldest institutions in Cypress. When it was just trees and fields and nothing else, St. John was planted in the 1850s, 1853. It's had 5 different church buildings, some destroyed by fire or hurricane. And in the 60s, they purchased the 18 acres a little further down the road of where it first started and where our church sits now. And we're really the geographic center of that Cypress area. It's kind of a cool place that we've been given here in the community. What I love about Cypress and Houston in general is the work ethic. A lot of Texans have that strong, hard work, but yet Texas is known as the friendly state, and people really are kind here. Not just like Minnesota where I grew up. It's kind of like Minnesota kind. They are externally, extrovertedly friendly often. I love that about Texas. And what I also love about Houston especially is how they come together. Hurricane Harvey in 2017 was a big part of that. We met a lot of our neighbors who were outside as the water was rising in our street. Our house narrowly missed being flooded, and neighbors helped me sandbag my garage, and more mud bag than anything at that point, and helped each other clean up afterward, for weeks afterward. And here's one story I want to tell you about what's awesome about our area. My friend went to a small family-owned Chinese restaurant just after the hurricane, and small businesses were trying to get up and going again. and only one person in the family could show up, the cook, and no one else was there doing dishes. No one else is taking the tabs and doing the register. And my friends saw a few local members of our community get up and take their dishes to the back, do their own dishes, and clear other people's plates, and started putting stuff in the register and taking care of things being paid for so that the cook could keep cooking. And I just love that about our community, that they really came together in the midst of a tragedy, and I still see it today. My wife and I really look at ourselves as what we call as being intentionally available. We play catch in the front yard. My boy's mom, my wife, does homeschooling lessons in the front yard on a blanket, so we can be available to our neighbors, so we can see them and hold that space. Jacobson talks about a threshold space in your front yard where the inside and outside meet, that some buildings actually have, that is this connection point where people can gather. We try and look at our front yard as that way, a place where people are welcome and can lead into the home. A number of our guys get together and we study the Bible together. We jam every Halloween, a bunch of guys in the band, and make a band up together and plays music. And every Tuesday we host Taco Tuesday of the month for our neighbors, and it's just become a wonderful place to do ministry and to love and be in relationship. So I'm excited to learn more about how we can do community development and grow and get to know our neighbors even more. So looking forward to studying with y'all.